Hello, viewers. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. In this video, I will be giving the KCSE prediction 2022, and I'll be specific to the second paper in English, that is paper 2. So, in English paper 2, there are four parts, and the first part is the unseen text, that is the passage that is testing the unseen text, to mean that this is a passage that the candidate has never met before, and the candidate is coming across this passage for the first time. Question 2, we have the seen text, or what we normally call the excerpt. So in this question, a section of a text that students have interacted with throughout their high school days is extracted, and then students are tested in that extract. So it is always referred to as the seen text because it is a material that the candidates have interacted with. That amounts to 25 marks. The first passage, that is the unseen text, normally account to 20 marks. Then the third question is always on poetry. It can be an oral narrative or even oral poetry, what we normally refer to as a song. Again, this question also contributes 20 marks in paper 2. Then lastly, the last section, we have grammar, which normally contributes 15 marks to this paper. Today, I want to give my prediction of paper 2 English, that is for KCSE candidates the year 2022. And for the purposes of this video, I will be specific to question 2, and that is the 25 marks on excerpt. Number 1, where is the excerpt most likely to come from in this year 2022? In answering this question quickly, I predict or I foresee a situation whereby examiners are going to look at similar episodes, areas in this text, and this year we are expecting Blossoms of the Savannah to be set as an exact question. So I foresee a situation whereby the examiners are going to set any of the parts or the sections or the episodes in this text which have some similarities. For example, we have the accosting of the girls by the vagabonds, what we normally call the near rape ordeal. So the near rape ordeal is orchestrated by Mtara Muyo and Lante son of Kanyira when the girls are coming from the shop. Their parents have gone to visit their friends or relatives for pieces of advice on the impending visit by Oloisudori, The father has gone to see his mentor Olesupeo, and at the same time, the mother has gone to see her inkainito, that is Uncle Simiren's wives. There is a similar episode, and that is when the girls are still at Uncle Simiren's homestead, when they have just arrived in Nasela from Nakuru, and the girls ask for permission from their mother to stroll around the village. They are accosted by a vagabond who, it comes out later, that is one of the vagabonds who later on accost them during the near rape ordeal. So those two episodes are similar, and I foresee a situation where this year in paper 2 excerpt question, the question may come from any of the two episodes. Again, I would also ask the candidates to look out for other sections of the text that bear similarities to other episodes. Examiners normally look at areas that bear similarities so that the examiner will be put to task to explain if they really know from which episode the extract is from. Number 2, this year, paper 2, excerpt question. My dear candidates, expect a question on plot. And the question on plot could be set as, number 1, a candidate will be asked to explain what happens immediately before the excerpt. Number 2, it could be what happens immediately after the excerpt. Then again, this plot question could be set. A candidate could be expected to place the excerpt in its immediate context. In such a situation, a candidate will be expected to state what happens before and later on what happens after. So in an event that the marks assigned is, let's say, 4 marks, it would mean that 2 marks would be for what happens before the excerpt, and then the other remaining 2 marks will be for what happens after the excerpt. Another way that a plot question could be set is when, for example, I've just talked about the possibility of a similar episode being used as the excerpt, bearing some similarity with another episode. A question may come, for instance, like from elsewhere in the text, where or how do the characters go through a similar ordeal? That would also pass as a plot question. So this year, 2022, dear candidates, expect a question on plot. Number 2, or maybe number 3, dear candidates, expect a question on characterization. And always, when we're talking about characterization, we talk about the character traits of various characters in, let's say, the excerpt that you've been given to answer its questions. So here, what we must know as candidates is that there are various ways through which we identify the various character traits of any character in not only the excerpt, but in all works of literature. Number 1, keenly listen to what the character says. If there is dialogue, then you will easily hear out what the character says and decide on the character trait. Number 2, kindly look at what other characters say about the character. Like if a character says that character X is greedy, then it goes without saying that the character trait that you will assign to character X is greedy. Number 3, look at what the character does. What the character does will also lead you to assign the appropriate character trait to the character in question. Number 4, what the author says about the character. Sometimes the authors normally take a lane in which they describe various characters in question. So when you want to identify a given character trait, then also listen to the voice of the character. In most cases, candidates are asked that identify and illustrate the character trait of, let's say, Taiyo, or let's say Russian, as brought out in the excerpt. That is one way of setting a question on characterization. Another way that this question could be set is you can be asked that how has this given character been portrayed in the excerpt? And one thing to be careful about is that don't just give any trait of the character if the question is specific to the excerpt. Sometimes there could be a leeway. You could be told that drawing your illustrations from other parts of the text. So in an event that you've not been given that freedom, then kindly work within the excerpt that you've been given. Viewers, as we continue, allow me to thank you very much for the support that you've given to this channel by way of subscription, likes, comments, and any other way. Allow me also to ask those who are visiting us for the first time to kindly hit onto that subscribe button so that anytime we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. Number 4, I foresee a situation where you are also going to be asked about the thematic concerns, the issues that have been raised in the excerpt. If we look at Blossoms of the Savannah, which is likely to be set this year in paper 2, then we are talking about thematic concerns like FGM, that is a female genital mutilation, which to a long or to a big extent has been highlighted in the text. We have aspects of tradition, we have education. So through the use of the various characters and the use of language, which I'll be talking about later on, writers normally lead their readers to a given message, a given subject matter, a given issue that they are addressing. So you must also be in a position to go through the literary triangle. That is at the top there of the literary triangle, we have the characterization. Then at the base on one vertex, we have the thematic concern. Then on the other end, we have the aspects of style. So those 3 things are interconnected. So writers do not just use language for the sake of it. They do not also create characters for the sake of the creation, but they use them to an end. They are a means to an end, to expose some issues or maybe to communicate some ideas, and that is the thematic concern. So next time, if you are asked at the end of this year in paper 2, which I foresee, it may not be a thematic concern per se. It could be describe or discuss the issues that are raised in the excerpt. What we are still talking about is the themes or the thematic concern. Normally, the themes or thematic concerns answer the question what? What is the excerpt talking all about? So expect a question on themes. Again, candidates, kindly expect a question on aspects of style. And aspects of style, mainly in the excerpt, will be how language has been used in that excerpt. And also here, be careful to know whether you are dealing with a question that restricts you to only use illustrations from the excerpt, or you are given some sort of freedom. So be careful on this again. It is very interesting that there was a time that in Kcse that a question had been sent that how has foregrounding been used? So the students who majorly benefited from this were the students who knew that when we talk about aspects of style, then we are talking about how language has been used. So they saw how has foregrounding been achieved in the excerpt, and they equated it to aspects of style. So aspects of style is the how of which language has been used in the excerpt. Another way, an aspect of style could be identified by the examiner, and you are expected to give illustration from the excerpt. For instance, let's say the excerpt, there is an aspect of irony. The examiner can identify for you irony and expect you to give illustrations. Remember, when you are asked to identify and illustrate, then you must pick up the aspect of style and give the illustration. There are aspects of style that are glaring for every eye to see, and I would want to encourage candidates to pick them first. An aspect of style like dialogue, it is very visible. When you see it, then pick it up and give examples from the excerpt where dialogue is going on. Then there is also this one about the local dialect, to which has been used to a greater extent in Blossoms of the Savannah. When you pick up when you see these glaring ones, pick them up and illustrate them first. That is when you can continue with others. Another question to expect in Kcse paper 2 this year from the excerpt section is the definitions of words. So there are going to be words which the examiners are going to expect that you provide their meanings. So this part also, remember candidates, that when a given word is in a given form, remember to maintain that form when giving its meaning. Like, for example, we have the word comprehend. If a candidate is told to provide the meaning of the word comprehend, then comprehend is a verb. We expect that we are going to maintain the form of the verb in providing its meaning. So to comprehend means to understand. So the answer will be understand. If comprehend as a word has been given in past tense, that is comprehended, we expect that the answer should also be in the past tense, which is understood. If it is in progressive aspect, like comprehending, then we expect that the answer to this word, the other word that means this word, should also be understanding. So when you are asked to provide the meaning of these words, ensure that you have maintained the form that the word provided is in. Those and many others candidates are the questions that I foresee in Kcse paper 2, the exact question. I am very sure that 70% of your paper will be made up of the questions that I've told you. I may not have the exact questions, but those are the questions to expect in this year's Kcse paper 2. As we come to the end, one thing that I normally encourage students is to have an in-depth grasp of the text. And one strategy that I normally use is that of one chapter a day. For you to answer, especially the context question, the plot question, what happens immediately before and after the excerpt, you must really have the hands-on knowledge of what is going on in the text. I normally advise that students should do one chapter a day. Just read one chapter from the Blossoms of the Savannah a day. There are 19 chapters. That means that in 19 days, you are done with the text. Then the cycle goes on and on. When it reaches the time for examinations, that is around November or early December, you will realize that you've gone through this text 10 times and you will not miss the questions, especially on the plot. Thank you very much, viewers. Let's meet again for more videos.